With the defeat of Musaylima and the submission of Yamama, the last major threat within Arabia was eliminated. For the first time, the political map of the peninsula did not fragment at the edges. The tribes no longer acted as independent states with shifting loyalties, but as components of a single center of authority in Medina. That new unity created both stability and momentum. Armies that had spent months chasing rebellions across deserts and oases now stood idle, well-supplied, experienced, and motivated. Abu Bakr understood that such an army could not be allowed to sit still. Idleness breeds dissent, and Arabia had just paid in blood to suppress it. Beyond Arabia lay two realms whose names had echoed through Arab markets for generations: the Byzantine Empire to the northwest and the Sassanid Empire to the northeast. Both had recently fought each other in a devastating series of wars that left cities burned, frontiers depopulated, and treasuries nearly empty. Their forces were battle-hardened, but their resources were strained. To Abu Bakr and his closest commanders, this presented a rare alignment of circumstances. Arabia was unified at the precise moment when its most powerful neighbors were weakened. The first target was chosen not for symbolic reasons, but for strategic and economic ones. The plains of Iraq, under Sassanid rule, lay just beyond the northeastern frontier of Arabia. They were rich in grain and water, threaded with rivers, and dotted with fortified towns. Controlling them would give Medina access to agriculture, trade, and a direct line into the Persian heartland. More importantly, the tribal networks along the frontier included Arab clans already familiar with both sides of the border. Some had served as auxiliaries under the Sassanids, others under the Byzantines. These clans could provide guides, scouts, and sometimes even allies. Khalid ibn al-Walid was appointed to command the new campaign. He had proven his skill not only in winning battles, but in organizing columns, preserving supply, and moving with extraordinary speed across hostile terrain. After reconstituting his forces and absorbing new contingents from loyal tribes, he marched north and then northeast, leaving the central plateau and descending into the lowlands that formed the southern edge of the Sassanid domain. The terrain shifted dramatically as the army approached Iraq. The rocky expanses of central Arabia gave way to open plains broken by canals, villages, and the great rivers Euphrates and Tigris. The Sassanid frontier was defended not by nomadic skirmishers, but by organized garrisons with heavy infantry, mounted cavalry, and archers trained for formation warfare. Their officers, drawn from noble Persian families, had been educated in both the arts of war and administration. They fought under iron and leather armor, with spears and long swords, supported by archers who fired in disciplined volleys. For the Sassanid command, the first reports of Khalid movement were puzzling. Arabia had not produced armies of this scale for generations, and those who had encountered Arab raiders in the past did not imagine them capable of sustained campaign warfare. Yet the Ridda Wars had forged exactly such an army. When Khalid reached the region controlled by the Sassanid governor of Al-Hira, he found the first organized resistance forming along the lower Euphrates. Persian officers dispatched scouts and light cavalry to probe the approaching column, testing its size, speed, and discipline. Khalid did not halt. He advanced toward one of the key defensive positions along the frontier, a location where Persian forces intended to block his entry into Iraq. The encounter that followed would be remembered as the Battle of the Chains, named for the method used by the defenders to anchor parts of their front line together so they could not be easily broken by cavalry charges. That choice said much about how the Persians viewed the incoming threat. They assumed an Arab army would rely on speed and sudden striking power, so they prepared to resist precisely that. As the two armies drew closer, Khalid formed his men into ordered ranks on the open ground along the Euphrates. His forward commanders walked the line, speaking to their fighters and assessing the approach of the Persian troops across the field. The air was hot, the ground flat, and the wide river behind them shimmered in the sun. Ahead lay the Sassanid frontier army, drawn up in disciplined formation, banners raised, heavy infantry in the center, and cavalry positioned at the wings. Their armor glinted, and the chained infantry line stood firm, confident in its defensive preparations. The battle for the entrance into Iraq was about to begin.